It's about time. We go from the present to the future in a blink. That's what researchers really do. In 1922, children were dying from diabetes. Parents dreamed of a day, maybe within 30 years they thought, when the dying would stop. Suddenly, in the time it takes to say a word, researchers thrust them into that future. The word was insulin. Researchers are still making time fly.
A lot of these new technologies now are helping address problems which have been around for decades, and only recently have you been able to actually directly visualize these processes. And in fact, very short experiments can help address questions which have been outstanding for many years.
So what my modeling will do, it will shrink the time that it takes them to understand what's going on and to optimize the recipe of this polymeric material so that they can then have these polymer gel dosimeters brought into clinical use in a very short period of time.
New medicines, new processes, new products. Researchers even bring messages from the future that tell us it's time to prepare for change.
The Earth has been warm before, at previous times in its Earth's history. Go back to the Cretaceous, much warmer than it is today. But we can see the nature at which, the rate at which our temperatures are increasing today is unprecedented in Earth's history, and that's where we need to be concerned.
It's about time we celebrated these people who can shrink time, save lives, create new enterprises, and make our lives better. It's also about time we thank them for new knowledge, because we're living in a knowledge revolution. Today, a minivan has more computing power than the Apollo 11 spacecraft that put humans on the moon. It's a smart world, and getting smarter.
Companies are looking to universities in Ontario for generating new knowledge and helping them to apply new knowledge.
Without new knowledge, today's companies die. Survival depends on research. What's beginning to make a difference in Ontario is support for that research. That's what the Premier's Research Excellence Awards, the PRIAs, are all about.
Training students that can take these positions on in the companies essentially help create their own positions, because they'll be able to apply these leading-edge technologies in an industrial setting. A lot of companies don't have the expertise in-house to do this kind of work.
Being awarded this PRIA has added a tremendous amount of potential to my lab. Having this PRIA means that we're going to be able to bring in 2 or 3 extra students a year to work on, in our particular case, our big project up in the Arctic, or on local projects around the Toronto region that we wouldn't be able to before.
But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, stay right where you are. We're here to celebrate a new generation of discoverers from across the province. The winners of the 1999 Premier's Research Excellence Awards. And we're also celebrating those young grad students and research assistants who, because of PRIA, will stay in Ontario and work with tonight's recipients. Among the ranks of these talented researchers are some of the Nobel laureates of the future. What's even more exciting is the work they will be doing to change our lives and bring the future closer. Some projects go to the heart of fundamental scientific knowledge. Jeff Chen has focused on finding the most important physical mechanisms that produce biological structures. Chris Yip, meanwhile, is studying molecule assembly.
Well, our group's primarily interested in controlling and in understanding how molecules assemble to form unique structures. A lot of diseases are actually caused by systems which undergo misassembly, for instance, Alzheimer's or mad cow disease. So the ability to understand how these processes take place and to directly visualize them is a powerful way of developing new therapies for treating these diseases.
At the other end of the spectrum, Levent Tonsil's work will help solve problems in manufacturing, transportation, telecommunications, and the service sector. Many of the projects supported by tonight's awards will directly benefit industry and workers. Samir Zayeda's work will improve safety in power generation and chemical plants while increasing efficiency and saving energy. Some of tonight's recipients will be improving Ontario's high-tech capabilities. Important because today, 2 out of every 3 new jobs created in Ontario are in the knowledge and technology-based industries. John Dutcher is pushing the limits of polymer coatings. How thin can they be? Michel Gingras is working with novel synthetic magnetic and superconducting oxide materials. Mark Dignam is investigating semiconductor nanostructures. Stephen Watt's research will allow computers to perform tasks which are too complex for today's technology. In another area, PayU is trying to develop something that the major institutions in our wired world desperately needs: secure, protected delivery of digital data. Research can benefit industry, the economy, and people. For example, Kim McCauley and her colleague Mark Schaefer are working on polymerization reactor models, a project that will improve paint manufacturing.
I also have another project that the funding from PRIA will help me to undertake, which isn't with companies. It's about radiation dosimetry. So it's about polymer reactors again. And this is with some physicists who are my partners, and they use radiation equipment for cancer treatment and treating tumors.
Meanwhile, Jessie Zhu is working on the gas fluidization of ultrafine powders. That could change forever how cars and trucks are painted. That's important because next to Michigan, Ontario is North America's largest vehicle manufacturer. More important, the new technology will also allow patients to take drugs more safely and effectively by inhaling them. Powder paint research helps protect the environment, as does the work of David Blows and Ernest Yanfel. Their work will reduce contamination from mine waste. At the same time, Irina Creed is helping protect forest landscapes by improving the way forests are managed. A benefit of Marianne Douglas's research? It gets her team out of the city and into the Arctic. But what they find there is evidence that we're in for some big changes.
The Arctic is almost like the canary in the mine. If there is warming going on, we're going to be able to see it first in the Arctic because those changes are going to be magnified up in the Arctic. So if down at southern regions, we're expected to experience 3 degrees warming during the winters in Canada, we can expect up to 13 degrees warming up in the Canadian Arctic. That's going to have huge drastic implications. So it's really the place to go and see and track these changes.
In many cases, our researchers are providing society with some amazing new tools. Donna Strickland is working with laser technology. William Power with nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy. Philip Servos is making a map to guide neurologists.
This 2D map of a portion of the brain called the postcentral gyrus allows us to visualize brain function, specifically how the body surface is represented in the human brain.
Meanwhile, David Holdsworth will be working with 3-dimensional imaging of blood vessels to reduce the need for brain surgery. Award-winning Catherine Hayward's work also focuses on blood problems, how bleeding and blood clotting are controlled, and how blood vessels are repaired. PRIA winners are also working on the greatest threats to our health. Jeffrey Pickering's work could improve treatment and prevention of heart and stroke disease. The results of the work being done by Stephen Shaughnessy could help limit the spread of cancer into bones. We know a lot about cancer, but little about what regulates its spread. Could low oxygen levels play a role? That's something Charles Graham and his team are studying. Kristen Aronson is using many new research techniques to find environmental clues to what causes breast and prostate cancer. David Litchfield is also involved in cancer research through his study of the protein kinase CK2. Alterations in CK2 cause normal cells to become cancer cells. Dale Laird is studying how a special family of proteins allows cells in our bodies to work together to allow synchronized muscle contraction, normal heart rhythm, embryo development, and to prevent uncontrolled cell growth. His work could lead to future therapies for neuropathologies, heart disorders, and cancer. Jerry Wright is trying to find out how some bacteria are increasing their resistance to antibiotics. Kim Madrinas wants to discover what regulates the activity of T cells, cells that can protect the body. John Brennan is working on biosensors that could identify new drugs for use in treating diseases such as cancer or AIDS. And David Kelvin is studying how molecules trigger white blood cell attacks on infection. The body can fail to protect itself. What Michael Rudnicki wants to know is how it rebuilds and repairs tissue. Our researchers are also tackling old enemies. Zhu Jing and his research team will be working to develop better vaccines for treating tuberculosis, the disease that kills more people worldwide than any other individual infectious disease. Our award winners are also tackling ailments that affect the young. Catherine Murphy is studying how vision problems in infants can disrupt brain functions. Doug Munoz is studying how the brain controls rapid eye movements and can harm a child's development. Meanwhile, Sanjay Sharma is looking at ways Canada can help senior citizens deal with sight loss caused by macular degeneration. James Parker's research looks at the connection between emotional intelligence and psychiatric symptoms. Tonight's recipients are also studying the physical life on our planet. Daphne Goring is studying plant pollination to help increase seed yields. Lyle Gibbs is trying to find a way to stop the decline of various bird species. Stephen Hecknar is studying amphibian ecology. Christine Wilson, who already has a comet named after her, is taking a more distant view. She is surveying clouds of molecular hydrogen gas to learn more about how stars form. That knowledge could help explain how the sun and planets were formed. For the past few minutes, we've also been studying stars, but only a fraction of the people who have received Premier's Research Excellence Awards from the province of Ontario. Of course, for all our 128 winners, the biggest help may have come from their most dedicated group of supporters, family and friends.
I also like to thank my wife, who has tolerated my irregular behaviors and late working hours. Thank you.
We share our winners' pride. We also share their excitement that the money provided by Premier's Research Excellence Awards will help unleash the potential of another 322 gifted research assistants and graduate students.
Another thing that makes me excited about this is I get to work with such fine graduate students who are really very bright. And so the PRIA award money will help me attract new and better graduate students to work on these kind of projects.
I think there definitely is a lot of research talent here in Ontario, and I think that these new programs are helping to attract people back into Ontario to help solidify the universities.
The best we can do is, and this is what the PRIA is going to help as well, this is money to pay for grad students, pay for research associates. We're really lucky. We're really happy we've gotten the PRIA.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's about time to celebrate the excellence of tonight's guests of honor.